And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly, truly fantastic day today. So this video is actually a request from a viewer who emailed me about a video called Why LeBron Hates NBA Media. So shout out to CP. And so I watched the video, and I'm just gonna kind of go through and give my thoughts on some of the things that the guy was saying in the video about why the duck, the deer, the leader of the 4 and 6 kingdom, hates the NBA media, which makes no sense because the NBA media has spent 23 years capping for this guy until this year. But anyway, so he starts off talking about saying something to the effect that LeBron James is known for his ability to ignore his critics, which right off the bat is a lie. If anybody agrees with that statement, please let me know in the comments. He says LeBron James is known for his ability to ignore his critics. And you know, I feel like statements like, you guys can just go back to your miserable lives and, you know, I'ma still be rich tomorrow and you go back to your miserable lives. Statements like that, the fact that Clutch Sports spends every day of every waking moment policing what is said about the duck, to me, these things tell you that LeBron James has never been good at ignoring his critics. This is false. So he talks about LeBron James not knowing his father, and so this caused LeBron James to take the opposite approach with Bronny James. And I'm not going to necessarily disagree that he took the opposite approach with Bronny James, but I'm going to say this. The opposite approach is still the wrong approach. I feel like a lot of times when people are wronged by their parents, you know, or when they perceive that their parents have wronged them in a certain way as far as their childhood, they have the tendency to do the complete opposite, which is normally still just as detrimental. For instance, you know, a kid might grow up and feeling like his parents was too protective, you know, and too strict. So they choose to take the opposite route with their kids. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna give my kids the freedom. They can do what they want. Well, it's just equally detrimental. That's why on this channel, I often talk about, you know, usually the best place is in the middle. If you're on the extreme of anything, that's usually not the best place to be. So, yeah, I don't disagree that, you know, LeBron James not having a father, you know, being raised by his mother, kind of took the opposite approach with Bronny James, and that's to be, I don't want to say too involved in his life, but too involved in the sense of not letting Bronny earn his own way. You know, again, you know, you go back to LeBron James approaching Stephen A. Smith. And, you know, comedian Ari Spears brought up a good point. He says, you know, during that time when LeBron James was about to get in a fight, I can't remember what team it was now, but LeBron James was about to get in a fight, and his mother got off the, you know, left the stands to try to protect him. And LeBron told his mother to sit your A down. You know, but because he didn't need her to try to fight his battles. Well, LeBron James, take your own advice. But this is the thing. It's like, it's like this whole thing goes in circles. So going back to the first point, number one, of LeBron James, of the guy saying that LeBron James is known for ignoring his critics. Again, this Bronny situation is yet another thing that disproves that LeBron James doesn't ignore his critics. LeBron James hears every word his critic says. This is what the Mind the Game, Just the Game, Cheat the Game, Mindless Games, Shameful Game podcast is all about. So, anyway, getting back to, LeBron James, like I said, he's trying to do too much with Bronny, and this whole getting him into the NBA, maybe in LeBron James' mind, he's like, oh, well, I didn't have a father to help me take shortcuts. I didn't have a father to help me take shortcuts. So, I'm going to make sure my son gets all the shortcuts that I was able to take in the NBA. But again, like I said, from one extreme to the other, this is not necessarily a good thing. So, another thing he mentioned, so he talks about the tweet that LeBron James tweeted saying, man, Bronny definitely better than these guys I'm watching on League Pass. Slight weight hilarious. He mentioned that. And he says at the time that LeBron made that tweet, supposedly Bronny is playing very well and meeting expectations. But again, after the fact, it turns out like that this whole McDonald's All-American thing was probably orchestrated by LeBron James. Was more than likely orchestrated by LeBron James. Because here's the thing. Unless LeBron James had actually witnessed Bronny like giving the business to actual NBA players, it doesn't matter what Bronny James may have been playing like at the time. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that at the time, I think this was before Bronny James had the heart attack or cardiac arrest. Let's say at the time, Bronny was actually hooping in college and whatnot. Unless LeBron James had witnessed Bronny James balling on some NBA players, that statement should have never been made. Like that is simply putting undue pressure on Bronny. And I feel like it's not even for the sake of Bronny, because here's what LeBron James fanboys will say. Oh, he can't build his son up. He can't praise his son. He can't talk his son up. No, you cannot talk delusion into your kid. You shouldn't do that. Honesty is the best policy. So again, unless LeBron James had actually witnessed Bronny holding his own with NBA players, he's just putting undue pressure on Bronny. And to me, what it really was about is LeBron James praising himself. Like, this is my kid. It's about LeBron James praising himself. Again, this is what this is really about. Everything that LeBron James does is about himself. So let's see. Let's go to the next point he talks about. So he goes into the whole nepotism thing. And he brings up the fact that Rich Paul basically made it so that no other team could draft Bronny except the Lakers. Now, I'm pretty sure I just did a video about how LeBron says, I don't interfere with Bronny's coaching. I never call the coach. I don't interfere with how they utilize him as a player. I don't interfere with none of that stuff. I just let Bronny do his own thing. I'm blind. I'm Stevie Wonder when it comes to Bronny and what happens in his basketball career. This is what LeBron James said, and the whole Rich Paul thing, making it so that no other team would draft Bronny, again, is just another example of LeBron James utilizing his power, interfering with Bronny James's career. And so from there, he kind of starts talking about JJ Redick starting to attack the media, saying that the media never says any good things about the modern NBA. He goes into Stephen A. Smith pleading with LeBron James as a father to stop doing this to Bronny James. And I guess around this same time is when Anthony Davis started voicing he wanted another big man in Los Angeles so that he could play the 4. And then we, of course, all know what happened to Anthony Davis. So as I was watching the video, I really was trying to figure out what angle he was coming at. Like, what was he, because everything he went through, I'm not sure if it explained why LeBron James hates the NBA media, because I feel like the reason LeBron James hates the NBA media is very simple. Because LeBron James is greedy. Because LeBron James can't just accept where he should be placed and ranked. Because LeBron James can't accept his decisions. So even though the NBA media, like we all see that the NBA media does nothing but cap for LeBron James. Even when they tell the truth, it's half truths. So because everybody in mainstream media doesn't call him the GOAT, because he's not the default GOAT in mainstream media, because LeBron James is not satisfied as being number 2 in the opinions of mainstream media, this is LeBron James' problem with the media. Because they don't constantly praise him, like I'm sure he feels like Michael Jordan got constantly praised, but Michael Jordan earned that praise. And even in a midst of praise, Jordan would still get criticized. So LeBron James has a delusional, thought process on what he actually thinks happened with Michael Jordan's career versus what actually happened with Michael Jordan's career. And because LeBron James is has no self-awareness, I would argue has no awareness of anything, because to me, if you really just look back into the career of LeBron James, if you really look back into the career of Michael Jordan, it would be easy for you to find out the things that you don't know. Like, yes, Michael Jordan was criticized heavily at different times in his career. Yes, Michael Jordan earned all the praise that he got. But I will say this, LeBron James, if The Last Dance didn't show you that is because you are incapable of learning in every way possible. So this is why LeBron James hates the media. To me, it's simple. So in this video, to me, this guy went through a lot of stuff that I really couldn't figure out what he was getting at. But so the last thing he says in the video is he basically says everyone isn't meant to handle pressure, and maybe it's time for Bronny to retire before it's too late. Now, I absolutely 100% agree with that. And, I could be wrong, but I don't think Bronny James is going to have much of a career outside of when LeBron James retires. When LeBron James retires, Bronny may stick around for another year, maybe. But I just don't see Bronny James having a long career. And honestly, I really believe it's LeBron James. I don't see Bronny James having a long career. And I honestly believe it's LeBron James' fault, because I feel like LeBron James put Bronny in a situation to where he couldn't come into his own before getting into the NBA. Because even without LeBron James, to me, if Bronny James really wanted to be in the NBA, if he really had a passion for basketball, then based on his name, he probably would have eventually got into the league one way or another, if he had a passion. But that's really the question is, does Bronny James have a passion for basketball? And here's the truth of the matter. It's like when you grow up privileged, I feel like people who grow up privileged, is a lot of times it's hard for them to have a passion for anything. a true passion. And I'm not saying that it's never the case, but a lot of times it's the case because they grow up getting everything so easy that they don't know what it's like to, and they have everything at their disposal that they don't know what it's like to have to work for something that they want because everything is just basically handed to them. And this is what this Lakers position was for Bronny James. It was something that was handed to him among a long list of things that was probably handed to him his whole life because LeBron James didn't have a father, so he wanted to go the opposite direction and coddle and spoil Bronny until he ruins him, basically. But anyway, we gonna hold up here, people. I'll put the link to the video in the description so that anybody who wants to actually go check out the video can go check out the video. If you've seen the video, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Because like I said, based on the title, I didn't kind of understand what the video was getting at. You know, it was just talking about to me some random stuff when, you know, if you're talking about why LeBron James hates the media, again, that answer is very simple. It's because nothing is good enough for LeBron James. Like, he wants something from the media that he hasn't earned. And like I said, and it's really funny because all of us basketball fans look at the media and we see the media as they only cap for LeBron. But he doesn't see that because it's only one thing that he wants from the media, and that is to be hailed as the GOAT. This is what he wants, and anything short of that isn't good enough. It doesn't matter how much the media makes excuses for him. It doesn't matter how much they are willing to blame his teammates for his failures and never bring up his lack of leadership. It doesn't matter what the media does to, I mean, look what he has done to Brian Windhorst this season for no apparent reason. Brian Windhorst, someone who caps for LeBron James tremendously, and yet this guy can't get a break. So anyway, we gonna hold up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.